Hi, so in this video we're going to go through Viva Schmiva, how to get the best return on your Viva investment. This is a video I recorded for my friends over at Empowering Cloud, where they produce briefings for IT pros for free. And if you fit that bill, then maybe go over to Empowering Cloud and sign up to get their free briefings on everything that an IT pro needs to know about Microsoft 365. So here I am talking about Viva and how to get your return on investment. Let's get straight into it. So Viva is Microsoft marketeer's dream, but that doesn't mean you have to get lost in the Bermuda triangle of marketing speak when trying to figure out how to use these seemingly disparate apps to save time and increase engagement. So we're going to go through why considering Viva as one entity probably isn't that helpful and what to do instead, which apps in the Viva suite are worth your time and investment and which to ditch, and how to successfully launch and embed Viva to enable a tangible return on investment versus nice to-dos. So why listen to me at all? I am the founder and director of Me Time, where we help people save time at work to do more of the things they love and happen to use Microsoft 365, Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Viva to do that. So I'm very interested in new technology. I keep up with what's going on with Google, Microsoft, Apple. Doesn't mean my clients or your organization should be interested in new things just for the sake of it. We should be targeting something to help either employee retention, increase productivity, increase sales, decrease costs, decrease risk, pretty much the only things that we can go at with tech. So frankly, most people in an organization do not care about the new technology, they care about what it can do for them. And that's exactly the frame of reference we should have when we're looking at Viva, and therefore picking out which bits of Viva are going to be important and which bits aren't. So to understand why I think it's a collection of disparate apps, in terms of finding out which one's going to produce a return on investment for us, let's just step back through the OGs, the original gangsters of Viva. So there was these four initial apps at launch: Viva Connections, Viva Learning, Viva Topics and Viva Insights, all seemingly disparate things that Microsoft sort of badged as employee experience apps. I'm relatively skeptical because a normal person doing a normal job touching any app in the Microsoft ecosystem is their experience. So I get the gist of what Microsoft are going after, so employee retention, maybe some more HR-y things, but some of these didn't seem to fit that well at launch. So Viva Connections used to just be having your existing SharePoint intranet show up in the sidebar of Teams, which was very useful. It was free in the Viva suite. At the same time, they introduced these optional at the time cards. So the default used to be your existing SharePoint site, and you could have a web part that had some cards in it, as well as a feed of stuff that was unknown to the person that's creating that page. Microsoft would just curate news stories and things and put it in a Viva feed that would show up in someone's intranet to that particular user, and the person putting it in couldn't really see a preview of anything that's going through there, which I think is still the case today. And there's lots of overlapping functionality. So I use news web parts quite a lot to show different things to different people with a choice column in my SharePoint Pages library. And I think that works a lot better. It's a lot more engaging than having these, although they say adaptive cards, most of them are going to be static. Fast forward to now Microsoft has changed the default so that the cards view is the default view. And so if you want to just see your existing SharePoint site, then obviously you have to click through again to go and see that, both on the mobile app, which I guess they think is better, and on desktop. So I can get why you might want that on mobile, but having on desktop now, you're just missing out on most of the stuff that's in your intranet. So I am not a massive fan of that. And most of the cards that Microsoft show as being really cool, where you can have, adaptive things through Power BI that are constantly updated. All of those things that look pretty cool are not available out of the box. You need to do some coding for, which if you're an IT pro, is going to be good for you because you know how to do that. But if you're a normal person doing a normal job, or if you're an HR person in charge of doing the intranet, you're not going to know how to make those cards. Even if IT get involved at the start and create some cards, in my experience, quite quickly over time, those reports are not used as much. Someone wants to change something, they don't believe the number, so they take something out to Excel, say, well, that number on the internet's not right because I do this bit in Excel to tell my manager what I've performed at. And so slowly over time it degrades, and then you sort of lose the investment to go and do it. So I'm not a big fan of doing any coding in an intranet, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So Viva Connections, it's free, which is always good. You may as well plug the intranet into Teams, but I would do it so that it's the actual intranet rather than these default card things now. And yeah, I wouldn't spend much time on adaptive cards yet until we know that Microsoft is actually going to do something to support them, or with Copilot just announced, then maybe making adaptive cards is going to be way easier, because you can just say, make me a card that does X, Y, Z, and it'll do all the coding for you. Second app we're going to go through, Viva Learning. At its simplest, this is just a wrapper for LinkedIn learning content that you can see in Teams, and then you can assign to other people if you want. It seems like it's trying to be a learning management system, but it isn't. And it says, oh, it can integrate with your learning management system, so it can take content from that you've already got in your organization and show it in Viva Learning. But then you sort of got the dual thing of like your LMS is probably assigning courses to people anyway and tracking it. And then why would you put it in a wrapper of LinkedIn Learning to then assign it again? It seems like it's nothing to nobody rather than all things to everyone. I personally have never learned anything from LinkedIn Learning. So I used to have it in my corporate job. I have it now as part of my Sales Navigator license in LinkedIn. I've never watched anything. I've started to watch things, and might be just how I like to learn. But whilst I'm doing something, I want some specific information about how to do something. So the internet is invented before LinkedIn Learning. It is a lot better for just getting a question answered that you're doing as you're doing something, but that's just my opinion. So you can surface your own content in there if you've got stuff through like learning pathways in SharePoint. You can put that through LinkedIn Learning, and that might be of use if you want to develop your own content and you don't want to pay for a fully blown LMS. But I can't think of many use cases where that is going to be true. If you're big enough to have your own content, you probably need an LMS in terms of size of organization. And if you're small enough to want to use LinkedIn Learning to do that, then you're probably not going to have enough people to generate your own content. So like I say, all the content you can get through different ways anyway, because all LinkedIn Learning is doing is sort of showing that up into Teams. And if I was advising an organization and I knew nothing about the organization, I would put it on the back burner. So it's free-ish. There are some paid tiers in there. I don't think many people are likely to use LinkedIn Learning. So if that's all the content you've got in there, then they're probably not going to bother going through and discovering stuff themselves. And if you've already got an LMS, then you can integrate it into Viva Learning, and then it's going to show up in Teams. So if you're doing a project to keep stuff in Teams, which I think is worth doing, because that's most of my approach to my own business, then that might be something that you might just want to do. Viva Topics is an odd one. So when it first came out, obviously Copilot and OpenAI and ChatGPT investment from Microsoft had not been made. This was all done without ChatGPT. And the idea is it scans every single document in whatever repository you point it at. So it could be your entire SharePoint site suite, everything that's in Microsoft's ecosystem, it will go and scan. And then it creates topic pages of things that it thinks are useful. So any acronym, any project you're talking about, it's scanning, it's one, both finding what it thinks are projects or topics, and also creating through AI a summary of what it thinks that topic is about, and showing the people it thinks are involved in that topic, and showing what it thinks are the latest and most relevant files. So there's two downsides. So Viva Topics, as I understand it, has not been announced that it is going to use Copilot or ChatGPT as I record this. I would be surprised if they don't, because at the moment, if you turn it on, it takes ages. It takes like 1-2 weeks to scan everything and produce a list of topics. Second downside is you still need someone to go and curate that list of topics. So for example, in my corporate job, we have the acronym COP to mean one area of the sales force. We also used a different acronym for the same sales force, and we use the same acronym to mean something different. So COP is close of play. If you're in an email, you're writing, can you get me that by close of play? So Viva Topics is not good enough to separate those out or combine them. Someone needs to go and do that. So I think it's going to get a lot better when Microsoft hopefully integrate with ChatGPT or OpenAI or Copilot, whichever one you want to think about. And you can still get the same thing done through a well curated SharePoint page, because that's effectively all it is. So if you've got a good culture in the organization of like collecting knowledge and storing things in the right place, you can set up a SharePoint site that's going to pull that information in for you anyway, using links back to the right Teams channel, using Viva Engage if you're using that, and using just, curation of someone that knows about that topic, updating it and keeping it live, and that's the way you work. Viva Topics then is slightly redundant. If you're thinking about hiring someone new to manage your knowledge, then it's probably worth having a quick look at Viva Topics first, because I think you can get all of the benefits with one license. So it's very cheap to try it. You may as well just get one license, turn it on, see what comes out, and then if it actually can manage with someone doing that part-time rather than hiring someone new, obviously you've got a return on investment there. But I don't think it's going to sort out most of the productivity issues that you've got if you're not working in a structured way across your organization anyway, if you're not collaborating in an effective way across your organization. If you don't have a culture of keeping things in the right place, Viva Topics is, I would say, not going to be your silver bullet to fix that, but you may as well try it if you think that's going to work, because you can try one license and it's very cheap. So last of the original apps, which is the one that I'm most excited about, which is why I left it last, obviously, is Viva Insights. So Microsoft used to call this My Analytics and Workplace Analytics, which I think personally was a better name because it was very clear to say My Analytics is just me, no one else can see that but myself. And Workplace Analytics is looking at everyone's emails, meetings, how they're working, what Microsoft apps they're using across all of the organization, anonymizing it, and then grouping up to see how different departments, different project teams are working across the organization. And then you can make some inferences about what's best or what's worse, depending on how you want to steer the culture. The biggest difficulty of getting any change to stick in any organization is the culture change. And Microsoft Viva Insights is the only app that's going to help do that with some analysis from the original apps. So it's like holding a mirror back to people. So just like if you weigh yourself every day and you're seeing your weight, you're more likely to get to the weight that you desire rather than you're not measuring it at all. Like Peter Drucker says, what gets measured gets managed. So being able to show people back to themselves, it's like, do you know how much time you're spending in meetings and internal emails? Well, I do, because here it is, and you guys are the worst offenders from anyone else in the organization. That's quite a powerful way to change. So it's like holding a mirror back to somebody. So there's lots of stuff you can do out of the box, and Microsoft have done lots of development to make things out of the box a lot easier to report on. Here's some real life ones that we made using the BI dashboards that Microsoft offer and creating some ones ourselves. And don't expect you to read everything that's on the screen, but it's the sort of things you can look at how people are working across both how much time are they working in a week, is that what you want? Are leaders leading that they're the ones most working actually want a culture of well-being? If the leaders are working like 80 hours a week and you want people to not do that, it's like, well, you're showing that to get to where I am at, you need to work more. So actually that pushes down through the whole organization to say, well, if you want to be a manager, you need to work more, without saying anything. It's the culture of how people are doing things that really shows up when you do some insights. Have you got a good customer focus? Are you spending time with the right customers? Anything that goes through Microsoft ecosystem, you can report back on. So it's really useful. We use this one for Teams adoption. So how much email are we sending between people that we know should be working in one big team? Is actually still quite a high percentage, so we know there's more work to do. So just stop sending internal emails, no need. We need to move on to Teams because we can save a lot more time from moving on to Teams channels. So you can use it for a variety of things. Viva Insights, I would say it's the only one in the original Viva apps that is going to be ROI positive, because you can see where waste is being done in an organization and change the culture to cut it out. So one, increasing productivity, and two, increasing well-being, because people hate meetings and emails. So anything you can do to help them get away from that, I would say it's going to be ROI positive. And it helps identify and reinforce improvements in productivity and well-being, and you're making decisions based on data rather than just guessing. So I would say that's the only one that's going to produce an ROI for you. If I were to rank them, going from top to bottom, here's what I would do. And obviously adding in all the other ones now seems to be like there's some cohesion, more cohesion in the Viva suite than there was before. So Viva Insights to me makes sense to analyze how your organization is working. Viva Glint makes sense now that Microsoft have acquired Glint and called it Viva Glint, where you can use your employee survey at a lot less cost than employing like a global giant employee survey provider to go and do the same thing and just spend loads of time analyzing it for you. Actually, Viva Glint is going to do that all for you. And having the insights and Glint, then you can do quite cool things to see how are the most engaged people in the organization working? Are they working in a different way to the least engaged people? And join them together. That seems quite a cohesive little package. Obviously, that wasn't available at launch. It is now. And then Viva Goals. So once you've got all those insights, both from the data being scanned, the direct feedback from your employees, you can then create goals to make sure that you're changing the culture in the way you want the company to work. So those three all kind of make sense together. So I'd hit those first. Viva Topics, have a try and see what you think, but I think it's going to be more powerful when Copilot comes out. Viva Connections and Viva Learning I'd still sort of leave on the back burner. And then Viva Amplify is quite annoying to me because they've taken things that used to be in My Analytics and Yammer, as was now Viva Engage, and put it into something that you could used to do before. So if you've already got the suite, then I guess it's okay. But yeah, seeing who's read your message and putting it out to different channels, you used to be able to do that before. And the Teams connector, so the SharePoint News Teams connector, has been deprecated, and now you've got to use Viva Amplify to kind of do the same thing. Viva Pulse is basically just a jumped up Microsoft Forms. You could create the same thing yourself and send it out. If you want to do a pulse for your organization without using Viva, or just create a form that's got smiley face, middle face, sad face, send it out to people every day if they want, or to make it available, they can tick it every day. And if they just say, look, how are you feeling today? And their sad face is too much, maybe go and do something. So that's all Viva Pulse is doing really. Just got some pre-done forms for you. And then Viva Sales is really odd because it's nothing to do with the rest of Viva, and it connects to Salesforce or Dynamics CRM and basically shows back the same information that the existing plugin in Outlook used to do. So not really clear what that does, although you do get intelligent recap done in Teams for you as part of Viva Sales, which you also get as part of Teams intelligent recap. So that's just my take, my opinion on Viva. If you were thinking about getting into Viva, that's the order I do it in. So Viva Insights, Glint, and Viva Goals first. I'm not a licensing expert. From memory, if you just want one app, I think it's £3 or £4. If you want all of the suite, I think they had a promotion on where it's like £9. So as soon as you want more than one, you may as well just get the whole suite. And obviously, if you've got the whole suite, then it's a different kettle of fish in terms of what to use, because you can use anything. But in terms of effort, then you're going to get an ROI on your effort and your cost of licenses going top down from big to small, I would say. That said, Microsoft yesterday, as I record this video, have announced that Copilot pricing is going to be $30 extra per user per month, £25. And if you had a toss-up between whether to go into Viva or into Copilot because you were using the same budget, then Copilot is going to have a way bigger return on investment. Obviously, it's a bigger investment, but I would say likely to have a way bigger return on investment as well, just because the sorts of things you can do literally save knowledge workers huge amounts of time. They're likely to be well paid if they're knowledge workers, if they're creating sales collateral in presentations or marketing stuff in presentations. You can get it to create a presentation for you. You can change the style based on a previous presentation. That could take someone literally days, if not hours of work, and Copilot can do it in a few seconds. And as long as you ask it the right questions, you're going to get pretty creative answers out of the back. Similarly, I started my work life as a finance analyst, and some of the things that is shown in Copilot in Excel would take, again, hours, if not days. Now you can just dump a block of data into Excel, tell it to analyze the trends, and it's going to tell you what the trends are, and you can get it to create a graph for you. You can just ask it to do stuff. You don't have to know any formulas anymore. You can just get it to do everything. So if you're scaling your business, then Copilot's going to be way more ROI than just throwing people at the problem. I'm not a big proponent of getting rid of people, because I think actually people are a lot more creative and a lot more strategic, even if you're employing them for what you deem as a low-level job. If you can free up their time to make it a better place to work, so they've got time to think, then actually they can get you more insight and more results, and Copilot is going to help them do that. So if you've got competing budgets about insights and Copilot, I'd say go with Copilot, even though it's more expensive. It's hopefully going to come down in price. I can't see many people getting that for massive organizations, even though I probably think that they should. But if the end user doesn't know about it and IT have got a budget, then the two are probably not going to join together in a big way just yet, I don't think. So hopefully Microsoft will reduce the price in the future. But that's my take on Viva. Sort of dipped into Copilot a little bit, just from a return on investment point of view. And yeah, if you had enough money to do them all, I'd still do them in that order. So Copilot first, Insights, Glint and Goals second, Topics, Viva Connections, Viva Learning second, and then the other ones, Amplify, Pulse, Sales. Didn't mention Viva Engage, which is a rebadged Yammer. If you're not an enterprise level organization, then you could probably get the same benefits that you get from Viva Engage just by having a well thought through Teams structure anyway. So by definition, the most organizations are going to be small and medium-sized businesses. Then you don't need to use Viva Engage, in my opinion. If you're an enterprise customer and therefore you can't manage with a small number of Microsoft teams, so if you're a 20,000 person organization, then Viva Engage is useful. I'm assuming you would already have it if you're watching this video. So I hope you liked that. Remember to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon if you haven't already, is the best way to support our channel. Also make sure you go over and check out Empowering Cloud to get all the latest news and insights for IT professionals. If you need more help with what I do, which is trying to help people get more productive using Microsoft 365, Microsoft Viva and Microsoft Teams, then check out some of the links in the description below. We've got some free training, we've got some paid courses, and if you need more help for your entire organization, then book a call using the link in the description below, and we can check out how I might be able to help with some consulting. If you just like these videos and you want more to come out for free, then please consider supporting this YouTube channel using some of the links in the description below. Either buy us a beer, give us a super thanks, change your energy supplier, or order a Tesla using our link even. But thanks for watching so far, and we'll see you in the next one.